Block party once again, baby, like no other though. Big drink and smoke again, baby, call everyone you know. Now wave your hands real high up in the sky as we party on the street. And later on I'm gonna shake the spot with the first sweet thing I meet. I'm real loaded, just taking my time. Baby girl right here is losing her mind. She's all up on me, just working it out. I'm gonna show her what I'm all about. I make my moves real fast like this and like that. So we head upstairs, I grab all my hats. This gangster does this thing and you know. I'll see you later, girl, cause I ain't loving no hoe. Block party once again, baby, like no other though. Big drink and smoke again, baby, call everyone you know. Now wave your hands real high up in the sky as we party on the street. And later on I'm gonna shake the spot with the first sweet thing I meet.
What is going on? It is your boy SK here with Mike Castellino, my special guest for today, and this is Purple and SKOL'd Media. What's up, Mike? Welcome in. It's been a while.
No, it's been a while, SK. It's nice to catch up here. I'm looking forward to what we're going to do today. It's good, man.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to have fun, as always, and I know we're going to do a mock draft just like a lot of you guys are always asking for. I know specifically our guy Bob Swede, who knows if he's on yet or not. If not, I'm sure you'll watch later, Bob. You're like the main guy that's always asking for mock drafts. So here you go. We're giving you another mock draft. But before we get into that, we're just going to kind of touch on what's happened, I'd say, in the past week as far as the Vikings news go in the offseason and what's going on with the quarterback position. But first, Mike, how's it going? First, plug your podcast. I know you got the Eminem podcast, and then as well as your Twitter and everything. So plug that for everybody real quick, and then we'll start talking about this draft.
I appreciate that. It's the Mic'd Up podcast now. It changed, and it's pronounced like Mike with an E at the end, UP, and then podcast. And we do a little, if it's more diverse, we do a lot of NFL talk and NHL talk, which is a little bit different. I know not all Americans are big into hockey, but we do a lot of NFL content. And no, I mean, me and my buddy from high school, we have a good time talking about sports. So it's really that simple. Yeah, but please subscribe. It'll be much appreciated.
Yeah, go give that a subscription over there. And then what's your Twitter, Mike?
At Mike Castellino.
At Mike Castellino. So make sure to go give him a follow on Twitter as well. And I know most of our Vikings fans are hockey fans as well. So Mike talks a lot of hockey, especially right now in the off season. So isn't it like prime hockey season? It's like playoffs coming up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're prime into the playoff race now. Like we're nearing the end, the finish line here of the wild card stuff, and the playoffs are really, really close because April is basically NHL playoff season. So, yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, tap in with Mike. He gives some really good Twitter spaces as well. So, if you want content on Twitter and maybe even tap in and talk Vikings football or even hockey with Mike Castellino, go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter and tap into his Twitter spaces. So, Mike, I'm going to ask you, man, since the last time I've talked to you, a lot has happened in Vikings world. But specifically, I'm going to say this past week because particularly the quarterback position has kind of been heated up. Now, obviously, we have a particular need at the cornerback position. We need another wide receiver. We need interior defensive lineman, linebacker. We can go on and on about the needs of this team. But the quarterback position has been the hot topic for the past week or so, whether it be Lamar Jackson, whether it be one of these rookie quarterbacks. And obviously, Kirk Cousins is all tied into that. So what is your kind of feeling on the whole quarterback conundrum of Kirk Cousins going into 2023 on the last year of his contract, playing on a contract year, the possibility of us drafting a quarterback in the first round, or even possibly going after Lamar Jackson, which seems like a crazy thing to do, but hey, nonetheless, it's still an option for the Minnesota Vikings. So what's kind of just your overall thought of what's going on with the quarterback position for the Minnesota Vikings?
No, all right. So I'll kick it off with Kirk in particular because I think it's the easiest way to start this conversation off. I love the way Kwesi didn't give in to his demands. I've said it for years. I don't like being in the fully guaranteed quarterback market because it gives you zero flexibility of what you could do with your cap realistically. Look at Deshaun Watson, the Browns, for God's sakes. They restructured that deal. Now he has $64 million the next 3 years, fully guaranteed. It's like, it's brutal. So let me kick it off with that. Kwesi, good on you for not doing what Rick Spielman did for far too many years. And Kirk's a good quarterback, but enough of this fully guaranteed stuff. If that's what he wants, then so be it. What I love most is they put him in a position where if they are going to get an extension done, it's going to be on the Vikings' terms and the Vikings' terms only.
Yep.
None of this zero to prove garbage. You have to go and win in this league in the postseason. I'm not saying it's all Kirk's fault because it's not. There's a lot of things that have screwed over Kirk Cousins and his run in Minnesota that a lot of people don't want to talk about because it's, it's excuses to a lot of people. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I love that he's playing motivated and something to prove this year. Because if he wants to finish his, his career in Minnesota and be a Viking for life, he's going to have to prove it. So on to Lamar now. And this topic is, a little bit of murky water because some people love Lamar Jackson. Some people are, on the fence. And I define myself as more on the fence. I don't personally want them to do it because, again, it's a good, not great quarterback. And I don't want to hear about his 2019 MVP anymore. Like, that was so many years ago. Can we stop talking about that for the love of God? Like, that doesn't give you years and years of a pass. You've got to, what have you done for me lately? In the last 2 seasons, Lamar Jackson, when the Ravens have needed him the most, he cannot stay healthy. Like, ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I don't care how good you are in the regular season. I believe he's 42-16 in the regular season.
Yeah.
If you can't play in the playoffs, it's meaningless. And like to everyone who says that Lamar Jackson has a terrible team, they nearly beat the Bengals with Tyler Huntley. So that speaks to how well coached the Ravens are.
Yeah.
I don't know what else people want to, discuss here. John Harbaugh's a fantastic coach, and no one really talks about it. The Ravens have put Lamar in a pretty darn good situation, aside from getting a receiver. And they've tried. They've missed. They missed on Rashad Bateman. They drafted Hollywood Brown. He was good, but wanted out. And I'm sorry, a lot of people would take this as a hot take. There may have been a reason Hollywood Brown wanted out. And maybe it's because he didn't feel Lamar Jackson is a superstar like the media wants to portray him. And I think he's a good quarterback. But if he wanted to play with Kyler Murray, it's kind of telling, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. And to finish it off, I want a rookie quarterback. I want Will Levis, but we'll get into that later.
You want the rookie contract more than anything. So you can really build this team up. No. So with Lamar Jackson, at this point, it's more of kind of a fantasy thing for Vikings fans. It's just so many hoops that we're going to have to jump through to even have a chance at Lamar Jackson. So if you just look at everything that we would have to have happen for us to bring in Lamar Jackson. First of all, before anything, obviously, if you're planning on Lamar Jackson being the quarterback of this team in 2023, that means Kirk Cousins isn't going to be on this roster, right? Well, Kirk has a no-trade clause on his contract, so it's really all up to Kirk Cousins. He can say, I don't want to be traded. I'm staying right here. No matter where you send me, I'm going to say no. So he has full control over everything. So first off, you have to convince Kirk Cousins to accept the trade. Now, whether that be him getting his money, whether that him going to a contender like San Francisco, who knows? But that's the first thing that you have to have crossed off the list. The second thing is that you have to create cap space for Lamar Jackson. Let's not forget Lamar Jackson wants to get paid. This isn't just a guy that you can go out and trade for and he's already under contract for the next 3 or 4 years. This is a guy who's just been exclusively tagged for, I think the cap hit is, I think
32 right now, I believe.
$32 million. He's not going to play on that. He wants security. He wants a long-term deal. Now, whether that be fully guaranteed, whether that not be fully guaranteed, I'm pretty sure he wanted up front. He wanted that fully guaranteed because we saw what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson last year. I mean, any quarterback that's out there and been successful in the NFL and that's due for a contract and that's had an MVP under their belt, I would get how Lamar Jackson feels. I would say you just gave a predator a fully guaranteed deal, and I can't get a fully guaranteed. I've been busting my ass out there and winning MVPs and doing what I got to do. Now, I agree with you as well that he hasn't been fully available when the Ravens needed him the most. But when you look at it the way of, hey, he wants fully guaranteed because he saw what Deshaun Watson got. But the NFL owners, just like you said, Mike, they don't want to keep giving these fully guaranteed contracts to quarterbacks. That's probably why no one has actually put out an offer for Lamar Jackson, because the NFL owners are telling each other, no, don't do it. Do not do it. So Lamar Jackson is going to find a new home. I don't know how it's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to be the Vikings. So Kirk's got to accept the trade. You got to free up cap room for Lamar Jackson because he's going to want at least $45 million a year. At least, at the very least. And Daniel Jones is making $40 a year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to want at least $45 million a year. On top of that, when you do offer him a deal, say all this happens and you get Kirk off the books and all, everything goes as planned and you finally do offer Lamar Jackson, the Ravens could sit there and just match your offer. And then you're sitting there with no quarterback. And you're looking at Nick Mullins being your quarterback going into the 2023 season. So I'm not opposed to risking it for Lamar Jackson. I just think it's way too much things that need to happen. And on top of that, say all that does happen, you need to completely change your entire offense. It's not a Kirk Cousins offense anymore. Nope. Justin Jefferson isn't going to be putting up the numbers that he was putting up with Kirk Cousins. And some people get mad at that when they,
it's true though.
What do you mean Justin Jefferson isn't going to put up the numbers? What are you trying to say? Justin Jefferson is great. I'm not taking anything away from Justin Jefferson, but the 35 to 40 attempts that we do during a game, pass attempts, those are going to be cut down by about 30% because Lamar Jackson is going to be running for the majority of those plays, which I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing. That's an explosive, game-changing player. So those could be very positive plays from Lamar Jackson. But what you're going to have to realize, win or lose, no matter how successful you are with Lamar Jackson at your quarterback, your passing game is going to take a hit. Yep. That's just facts. That's just the fact.
Yeah, I don't think he's passed for 4,000 yards. I do want to throw this in here too. And this is where I think it ends really in my mind personally. If Quessy wasn't willing to give a fully guaranteed deal to Cousins for 2 years, how on earth is he going to give a 5-year deal fully guaranteed to Lamar with his injury history? I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I think we're kind of dead set on looking at one of these rookie quarterbacks. I think that's really what it is right now. Now, whether that be Will Levis, which rumors are that Kevin O'Connell really likes Will Levis. He has ties to the coaching staff at Kentucky, and they love Will Levis's big hands. Something about the big hands. But it looks like it may be their guy if he somehow falls down to them at 23, which I don't see happening. I wouldn't be surprised if we take him. But I think that's where we're leaning. I think we're looking, hey, look, when's the last time we actually went out there and said, we need to get a rookie quarterback? That was Teddy Bridgewater. What year was that? 2016, 15?
I want to say it was
14, 15, something like that.
15? No, it probably would have even been longer than that because didn't they go to the 2015 playoffs with Teddy against Seattle? And I don't think he was a rookie that year. It might have even been
13 or 14, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Help us out if you guys know. Go ahead and shoot that in the comments. Real quick, though, I got to give a shout out to everybody that's tapped in. Shout out the comments. If you guys haven't commented or liked, man, comment and like this video, especially you guys there on YouTube. Let's get this algorithm going. I see some new people tapped in. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody on Facebook, hit those stars, man. Support the channel. Hit those stars. That goes right back into our show, whether that be soundboards, cameras, all that good stuff. It goes right back into us trying to make this a better show for you guys. So hit those stars. SKOL'd for life. Thank you for tapping in. Says SKOL'd. Mike got his hair did.
Yeah.
Chris says go Sharks. What's up, Chris? The purple Mandalorian right there. Purple Pocket Podcast. Our guy Rap tapping in, gives us a SKOL'd. Thank you, Rap. And our guy Justin Day from Purple and Gold for Days. Make sure you guys go subscribe to those two YouTube channels as well. They put on great shows. But yeah, let's start mocking. I know that's what people are here for. We want to mock. So Bob Swede, just in time, Bob. Just in time. I was just talking about you, Bob, at the beginning of the show. I said, I know you guys want to mock, but I know there's one particular guy that's always asking for a mock draft, and that's Bob Swede. So I'm glad you tapped in, and you tapped in just in time, Bob. We're going to mock. Let's mock, Bob. So usually we use the Pro Football Focus mock draft, but for some reason they decided to start charging people for their mock draft. So we're going to use Pro Football Network's mock draft. It may take me a little bit longer to kind of guide us through that because I'm used to PFF, but we're going to work it. We're going to work through it and make the best out of it and see how it turns out, because I know PFF was probably the most accurate. Who knows what PFN is going to throw at us? So let me set that up. But while I'm setting that up, Mike, just your opinion on these rookie quarterbacks. Obviously, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young aren't going to be there.
Yeah, not going to happen.
They're not going to be in a position for us to trade up and grab them. But Will Levis and possibly Anthony Richardson may be a different story. So what's your opinion on those two guys?
I'm not the biggest Anthony Richardson fan. I mean, I think anyone who's been on my Twitter probably knows that. I think he's the definition of boom or bust. And I think the same goes for Will Levis, just to be perfectly fair, though I'm a bigger Will Levis supporter. I think they kind of are similar in that way where there's no in between. They're not going to be solid, serviceable guys. They're either going to be good or garbage. There is really no in between. But no, to your point there, I want Young or Stroud, but that's not going to happen, right? So it really is between those two. But I think Richardson, I think he shocks a lot of people where he goes. I honestly think he's gone by the 5th overall pick. I don't think he passes the Colts, to be quite honest with you.
Really?
Unless something Lamar Jackson-esque happens there with the Colts, which is a possibility.
Yeah. No, I think Richardson is going to be gone before Levis. Just
I agree.
That pure athletic ability. Just, I mean, the comparisons to Mahomes, that's what's raising his draft stock. If this was before Mahomes, I don't think Anthony Richardson would be a first-round pick. And it's the Mahomes effect. It really is, because you see a little. Go ahead, Mike.
Can I get out on that for a second? Like, and I might upset some people here. They're not the same, and it's not particularly close either. If you look at Anthony Richardson and Patrick Mahomes even before Patrick Mahomes played a down in the NFL with the Chiefs, the completion percentage is not the same. The style of ball is not the same. The thing with Mahomes coming out that was his big problematic thing was that he is a little bit impatient. But he could read defenses more than Anthony Richardson, where Richardson will throw some of the most silly passes I've ever seen in my life. Go look at his tape against Kentucky. He threw 2 of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. And, like, Mahomes is not a huge runner. Like, I don't know where this narrative comes from. He's never ran for more than 400 yards in a season. I don't think he's ran for 400 yards. Anthony Richardson would be closer to Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick-like production in the running game. He'd give you probably between 500 to 800 yards, probably his rookie season in rushing yards alone. So I just don't see the comp at all. Yeah, okay, he's a big dude. But if anything, he's kind of more like Cam Newton than he is Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes was not an athletic freak. He was just a really good gunslinger, similar to Brett Favre, more than he was Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I could see that comparison. I could also see just off what Justin Fields has done in the league so far, and just kind of him getting his feet going more than his arm. I think that's a good comparison.
That's a good comp. I like that one.
Because that's what he's going to be doing, depending on the team he goes to. I think the best situation for Anthony Richardson is to go to a team like the Minnesota Vikings,
where he could sit.
He could sit for at least a year, kind of sit back and chill, because I think he's just gonna be running around having fun for the first year to get in a hang of the game before we really see his full potential. But he's one of those guys that you're really gonna have to mold into an NFL quarterback. And I put Will Levis in that same category of a guy that you're gonna have to mold into being an NFL quarterback, because that's why those two guys aren't considered the top two. Now, Carolina could, say, you know what, we're going to go Will Levis number 1 overall. We're going to go Richardson number 1 overall because they see the upside. But in my opinion, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, just as far as playing the quarterback position, those two are years ahead of Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Now, if you want to include the athleticism and the football player as a whole, then that may be a different story. So, but let's see, man. Let's see. Let's get this draft going. I got us 7 rounds. Minnesota Vikings. Normal draft speed or fast draft?
Oh, go fast.
Go fast? Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's draft. And Bryce
see what
Young,
I'm saying? It's still
Stroud, Anthony Richardson off the board. Okay, let's pause this draft here. Let me see. I can't scroll up and see the players, huh? All right. Let's see. We're at 16. Witherspoon's off. Okay, so we have a couple trade offers for our pick. Deontay Banks just came off the board. It looks like Brian Breesy is still available. Kaylee Ringo. Let me see the trade offers. So Philadelphia wants to trade up to the 23rd. They'll give us their 30th and 2024 second. We got the Bengals offering the 28th pick and 2024 third. Jaguars just want to move up 1 spot and give us the 24th and 88th pick for our 23 and 158. That's interesting. Do I have to accept the trade-off where I can see who's on the board? This is why I don't.
I think with this simulation, you have to either reject or accept some before you can look at the players, I believe.
Okay, so let's look at our comments. Nobody's commenting on it yet, but you guys put in your comments. What do you think we should do? Whether that's trade back, pick somebody here, which let me see who we got on the board again. Brian Breesy, Brian Branch, safety out of Alabama, Isaiah Foskey, edge out of Notre Dame, Kaylee Ringo, Nolan Smith is still on the board. Let's see. To be honest with you, that Jaguars trade probably looks the best. Just trade back.
I was thinking the same.
Trade back 1 pick and gain that pick 88, and I'm sure we'll get a trade offer for 24. So So go Jaguar.
Go Jaguars.
All right. So we're gonna trade with the Jaguars. Pick 23 and 158 for pick 24 and 88. I think that's a win for us. All right, and they picked Kaylee Ringo, cornerback out of Georgia. Now, look at Denver here. Denver has a trade offer for us. They want to move up to 24, but we're not going to get a pick till 67. I don't think that's an option for us.
That's too rich.
Yeah, that's too far back. Yeah. Tampa Bay wants to move up, but it looks like they're a little too far back for my liking as well. And then the Bengals again. Hey, look, I think this might be the pick or the trade right here. Trade back 4 spots, get pick 28, and get pick 60 for pick 24 and 119.
I'd do it.
That sounds good.
It's
to me.
more of a Quessy type trade anyway. It's kind of what he did with the Lions anyway.
Both of those trades.
Yeah.
Both of those. So I think we do that too, and we gain a second round pick out of that. So even though it's a late second round pick, I think that's a good pick up there. And we have 2 third-rounders too. So, and Nolan Smith is still on the board. So if we want to go edge here, we still got an edge we can grab. Jalen Hyatt is on the board if we want to grab a wide receiver too. Trenton Simpson if we want to fill a linebacker need. Let me see here. Zay Flowers still available as well. So you got some of the top wide receivers still available. I don't think we trade back 3 times in a row, just realistically. No. So I think we'll reject the Bears. We'll reject the Falcons. Cool. Those weren't really trades that we're interested in anyways. Let's see here. So let's look at offense-wise. So if we go offense, we're looking at the receivers here, obviously, right? Jalen Hyatt and Zay Flowers. I think those are the guys that we'd be looking at if we go offense.
No, right? I'd agree.
Defense, I'm looking at a guy like Nolan Smith, Trenton Simpson, and Kalijah Cansey. Those would be my guys that I would draft on the defensive side of the ball. There's no corners there for the taking as far as right now. Let me see the cornerbacks that are available. I really like Emmanuel Forbes, which we might be able to grab with our next pick. Julius Brents, another guy who I really like, who should be available there. So I think we can wait on corner. What do you think, Mike?
I think corner is not going to happen anyway. If you go and look at the history of Brian Flores and what he did in Miami, he took Christian Wilkins, he took Jalen Phillips. I actually don't think there was ever a consideration we're going to go corner in my mind anyway. So going this route, I think, makes more sense to begin with.
Chris says, is Drew Sanders gone? Let me see.
That's a good one. Linebacker at Arkansas.
He'll be there. Let's see. Oh, no. I'm in. Let me go linebackers. Sanders is still there. So I think we can wait on linebacker because even if we miss out on Sanders, we still got a guy like Jack Campbell. You got guys like Ivan Pace, a guy out of Tulane.
Noah Sewell, too.
Noah Sewell is another guy. So, and then defensive tackle, you got Kalijah Cansey, you got Mozzie Smith, who I think would fit in just right on this defense. Ika from Baylor is another guy you want to take a look at. So, if I'm being honest, I think receiver is the pick here.
Zay Flowers
or Jalen Hyatt. I think it's between those two. So let's leave it up to our viewers. Zay Flowers or Jalen Hyatt. Who do you guys want to go? Chris says true defensive tackle or DB would be nice here. Yeah, it would be nice. I just think we can wait a pick. I think the premium position here is wide receiver. Okay, Chris says Flowers. Hooker is still there, Bob. Hooker is still there. I think if we grab Hooker, it won't be till about the 3rd round if he's still there.
Late second, I would not hate it because we have Cincy's second, right?
We do,
but not here. Not for me personally.
Yeah, definitely not here. So Chris says Flowers. I'm gonna give it about 10 seconds. Anybody else on Flowers or Jalen Hyatt? Where should we go? Zay Flowers or Jalen Hyatt? Give it about 10 seconds. Looks like we might go Flowers. Chris is sending in the ticket for Zay Flowers. And it looks like that's where we're going to go, guys.
All right.
Zay Flowers. I'm not against it.
Nope.
Give us Zay Flowers for the pick. Let me see. Our next pick. Looks like we had a big linebacker push. We got one trade offer. I'm good. You good on that, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think we need to move down anymore. I'm good. All
right, so now we're sitting at pick 60 here. Hendon Hooker is there. Hendon Hooker is available. Emmanuel Forbes just came off the board. That's the guy I wanted. Ika from Baylor, another defensive tackle. Looks like all the defensive tackles are gone. Yeah, the top ones that I wanted, they're gone, but we might be able to grab a guy later on. Let's look at edge. Not a huge need. Now let's look at linebacker. Sewell's still there. Ivan.
I would not mind Noah Sewell. That would not be a bad pick. I mean, if we wanted to spice it up, SK, this is around the range I would feel far more uncomfortable taking Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. End of the second round. And again, linebacker, you still have talent at the linebacker position, like guys like Ivan Pace, Henley, and then again the guy out of Tulane, Dorian Williams, I think his name is. I like him a lot too. We eventually, I think we do need to draft a cornerback. Julius Brents might be a possibility here. But again, I agree with you. I think the quarterback position, this might be the spot to do it.
Yeah, because Hendon Hooker won't be there by our next pick.
Yeah, so I think we got to go Hendon Hooker. Let me see. I'm trying to see where our next draft pick is. It's not showing for some reason, but okay. So Hendon Hooker. I think Hendon Hooker is the right pick here. Let's get our quarterback of the future. You good with that, Mike?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Into the second round, Vikings get Hendon Hooker. And our next pick should be in the 80s. 80. Oh, we got back-to-back picks. We got 87 and 88. That's nice. I like that. No, we won't take that trade.
No.
All right, now let's look at linebackers here.
Yes.
Ivan Pace is available. Henley is available. Overshown out of Texas is still available. Let's look at defensive tackles too. That's a major need for us.
Yeah.
Ajomo out of Texas is available. Pickens. Let's see cornerbacks. Okay, yeah, I'm kind of cool on the cornerbacks that are up there right now. Let's go to offense again. Now if we want to address the center position, there's Tippmann out of Wisconsin there.
That's a good show. That's an interesting show.
Yeah, that would be a solid pick there.
Yeah.
We don't need running back. We don't need receiver. Don't need tight end. Don't need tackle. Let's look at the guards here. Yeah, center. So I think the only two options here are Tippmann, center out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And linebacker.
Particularly Pace. Who are you thinking? Ivan Pace?
Yeah, I think linebacker is more of a need right now than center is, regardless of
unfortunately,
how you
I'd agree.
Yeah, I mean, Bradbury's going to be our starting center this year. I don't think we're in much of a rush to go out there and find another center. So I think Ivan Pace is the right pick here. And we got back-to-back picks, so we can pick both guys if we want to.
I think we got to consider corner, though, at some point. So as much as I would want to just take Pace and then go Tippmann, that's probably greedy. And we probably already went a bit of a luxury pick with Hooker. So let's take the linebacker now, and then we can discuss that after.
Yeah, I really like Jacorian Bennett, who I think is still available, cornerback out of Maryland. So let's see if we get a trade offer for 88. So let's go Ivan Pace here. Go Ivan Pace, and we did get one offer. I mean, trade back to 96, grab a 4th round pick in 2024. I mean, it doesn't help us with this mock draft. But
it's not terrible.
We don't have anybody that's right there that we can just grab right here. So I think this is the opportunity for us to just grab an extra pick for next year.
Remember, we are losing a 3rd next year for the Hawkinson trade. So I don't mind having 2 4s in 24.
Okay, so I think I'm fine moving back 8 spots here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right, back on the board here. Dang, I should have had the whole board up, but yeah, I'm cool on that offer.
I'm done.
And reject that one. Okay. All right, so let's go to corner. See what corners we got here. We got Mekhi Garner from LSU still there. Carrington Valentine out of Kentucky, who's a guy I like. I like Carrington Valentine. Darius Rush. Are we set? Are we kind of dead set on corner here, or? Joe Tippmann is still there. That center is still there.
That's a lot more tempting. I'm not gonna lie, because I know it's selfish. I'm well aware it's selfish.
We wanted him 2 picks ago, right?
Yeah, it's tough because we do need a corner, right? Like I love the story of Tay Gowan and what he could be, right? Was never given the proper opportunity in Arizona and Philly because they have depth. Booth, Evans, and you brought in Byron Murphy to be the star, CB1, but you probably got to bring in another guy, at least one in the draft at some point, relatively high to some extent. Is Stevenson on the U still available?
No, I think he just got picked. Yeah, I think he just got picked.
Okay.
I saw him come off the board. Tomlinson, I like Tomlinson, but he's not a fit in Flores' system. So I don't think he's really an option. He's like a pure zone corner.
Which is the complete opposite.
Exactly, which is the complete opposite of Flores. I don't think there's a cornerback that we like that much to take here. I think we like the center more. Let's not forget, man, you can never have too much firepower on the trenches.
You need depth. You need
depth in the trenches. And look, centers can play guard too. So
in a pinch, usually.
Say this Ingram thing doesn't work out in year 2. We have somebody else we can kind of look at as well as Chris Reed too. So I'm leaning Tippmann here, if I'm being honest.
We can put it up to the comments if you want. It's up to you.
Okay.
I'm not. You are not going to hear a hater out of me taking the center to potentially replace Garrett Bradbury.
All right, guys. So should we go center or corner here? Center or corner? We got Tippmann, one of the top centers in the draft this year. I think he's top 4, top 5 center in this year's draft. Should we go center or should we go corner? There's not really a corner we love up there right now. Let me put the corners back up for you guys. No one we really love unless somebody has, a little tidbit on one of these corners that they want to give us. But center or corner? First one to answer, that's where we're going. Where are we going, Chris? You made the call last time. You want center or you want corner? I'm leaning center. I think Mike's leaning center too.
Yeah.
If we don't get an answer, it looks like we might go center. Change our mind. Chris says, is there a veteran trade y'all can think of for a 3rd-round pick?
That's really out there. Oh God. What's Hunter. That? Does he mean for corner or like trading a veteran from us?
I think he's referring to us trading somebody for a 3rd.
Well, if we trade Danielle Hunter, you have to get a huge package because the amount of dead money you're going to eat, because all his void years and the way his contract was structured by Spielman, it would all allocate to this year. So you need a big package. So a 3rd rounder for me wouldn't do it.
Okay, Chris actually said, where can we find a veteran quarterback to trade for?
There's the kid from, I'm not going to remember his name, but there's a kid out of the Colts. They're looking to trade potentially. They got
Kenny Moore.
Kenny Moore, thank you. That's what I would absolutely be in on.
Yeah.
And he's got that flexibility, right? He's a good slot guy, but him and Byron Murphy could, be interchangeable. That would be a good thing.
Very true. So, Chris, you didn't answer us. We going corner or we going center here, Chris? Cornerback or center here at pick 96? I think we're going center, man. I think we're going center, Mike.
All right.
I think we're going center. He said we really need defensive help. But he says center.
Exactly what I said. It's the greedy, but it's us Viking fans. We want to be done with Bradbury.
Yeah, so we should have pick 119 still. No, we don't. We gave that one up.
We gave it up. We're going down here now.
Yeah, we should have a 5th round pick here coming up then.
We might be done because didn't we
Oh, yeah,
deal it
we
to
might. Yeah,
Jacksonville?
you're right. You're right. That might be our draft. Unless we grab the late round pick from somebody. Yeah, there we go. We got 211.
Okay. We
And there
sneak in
goes
there at the very back end.
there goes the linebacker that I was talking about from Tulane, Dorian Williams. I think he's gonna be a really good player. Another center, Juice Scruggs, Max Dugan. I mean, let's pick the top corner here, pretty much, right?
Well, I do want to say this before we do it. If you look at the Patriots when Flores was there, they turned guys who were low end, either undrafted free agents or low draft picks, into really good starting players down the line, like Malcolm Butler, J.C. Jackson. So this could absolutely happen. I know it's a little bit shocking if it actually did, but I could see the Vikings adding a veteran corner and drafting one in the 7th round and bet on traits because New England's good at it, and Flores was there, so he knows how to scout guys late in the draft at corner.
It's not out of the realm. It's definitely not out of the realm. The only guy I'm really familiar with here, which we don't need, is Dorian Williams. You even got another linebacker in Cam Jones down here. But I think corner, right?
Yeah, I think we have to at least put one on the board.
Let's see if we can get a report on a guy that actually fits. It's not going to give us a report. All we can get is his size. Mullen is 5'10", 181, which isn't a bad size. 6 foot, 190. Arquan Bush. And then Shamari Connor. Let me see here. Yeah, they don't even have his height listed or anything.
Just for pure comedic relief more than anything else for myself. Just because I wanted Sauce so bad last year, let's take the kid out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. So I think that'll wrap up our draft. Do they grade?
I don't think they do.
They don't
from what I
grade,
can
do
recall.
they? Okay, so I wouldn't be mad at that draft. I wouldn't be mad at that.
No.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all. And we grabbed the extra 4th round pick. It's not bad. So we got Zay Flowers at the end of the 1st, Hendon Hooker at the end of the 2nd, Ivan Pace, it looks, at the end of the 3rd, and then Joe Tippmann right in the middle of the 4th round, and then Arquan Bush, cornerback out of Cincinnati, in the, the 6th, 7th round?
6th round, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid draft. I would be surprised if we don't accumulate more picks in this draft. I think Kwesi's going to get his trade back on. I don't see us drafting anybody at 23 unless one of these quarterbacks falls. What do you think, Mike?
No, I don't disagree. At the end of the day, I think with quarterbacks, it's only if one falls, right? Like you said, like they're not going to give up the farm to get a quarterback. They're just not, and they shouldn't, because that'd be ill-advised.
Yeah.
But if one falls, you absolutely have to consider it, right? Like, and again, as we alluded to at the start of the video, if Levis was to drop, I'm not opposed to doing it. I'm not. And again, I'm not saying to give up the farm for Will Levis. No, that's probably a bad idea. Yeah. But if he's at that like 17, 18 range and you move up and get him, it'd be funny to, joke around, trade up to 18th overall, JJ's number, and go and get his future quarterback. No, why not?
So you're not opposed to Levis?
No, I like Will Levis. In fact, I'm probably part of the fan club of Will Levis more than anything else, because Rick Spielman, and I know this is biased, but he likes Anthony Richardson, and he doesn't like Will Levis. So if there was ever a way to make me a full Will Levis fan, Rick Spielman did it. So let's go get Will Levis just to go and spite Rick Spielman. He's wrong, and Kwesi hits on a quarterback that Rick Spielman didn't like. It writes itself.
Hey, and I know how much you like Josh Allen too, and he has a lot of Josh Allen comparisons. A lot. And look, I don't hate Josh Allen. I just feel like when the moments are biggest, he kind of crumbles a little bit, just like a lot of people criticize Kirk Cousins for doing. Josh Allen does a lot of the same stuff in big moments. So that's my criticism of him.
If I do want to throw one thing out there, I think that playoff game against Kansas City 2 years ago says otherwise. He did everything he could, and his defense buried him.
But I mean, same thing with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has had games like that to where
I'd say the Giants game was similar.
Well, I mean,
not one-for-one comparison, but the defense did not help him in that game.
Oh yeah, overall, as far as the game in a whole, absolutely. But no, I get the comparisons with Josh Allen. You see it athletically, you see it with the big cannon of an arm. I just think there's a lot of, just like I said earlier, as well as Richardson, there's a lot of molding that you're going to have to do with those two quarterbacks. These aren't guys that you're just going to plug and play and they're going to be your starting quarterback to start the 2023 season. They're not going to be in a position to look very good that way. They're going to need to sit back, chill, watch the game for about a year behind a veteran quarterback, and I think that's a perfect situation for those two guys, as well as Hendon Hooker, who's coming off the ACL.
Yeah, and he won't be ready. Not first.
He won't be ready. And again, that's what makes the Minnesota Vikings such a spot that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, Hendon Hooker. Look, Kirk Cousins on the contract year. He's probably about out of there. You got a guy in Hendon Hooker who's really accurate. He's a little older as far as the other draft prospects. A little older, coming off an ACL injury. Won't be a starter until he's 26, 27 years old. That's the only kind of knock.
That's a big risk. Yeah.
That's the big risk, and that's the only knock on him really is the injury, the ACL injury, and the obviously, him being 26, 27 before he's going to be able to play on an NFL field. That's the big concerns for me. And as well, there's one more, is that he ran an offense that made it extremely simple for him. Extremely, to where he only had to read one side of the field. You can't do that in the NFL.
No.
Can't do
Mind
that.
you, Tennessee's OC might get poached in the NFL at some point for running an offense that was not efficient. Credit to him for that. Yep. But I do want to say one thing on all these guys and why the Vikings are going to probably take a rookie quarterback. It's because they have Kirk Cousins in place for this year to sit behind him. Yeah. Coach Kevin O'Connell said it himself. Kirk Cousins, we plan on having his best season of his career in year 2. It probably ends there unless something big happens, like an NFC title game appearance or a Super Bowl appearance, which, honest to God, that's a good thing. What do we always say, SK? The best Kirk Cousins is the angry Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
How much more angry can you make him than having literally his heir apparent sitting on the bench every single Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is with drafting a quarterback here, and this will probably be the last thing before we wrap things up, is that it gives the fan base and the rest of the organization a glimpse into what the future might look like. Because right now, we don't have a future outside of Kirk Cousins. It's just Kirk Cousins is our quarterback. Well, Kirk Cousins is 36 years old. He's not going to be our quarterback for very much longer. Is our succession plan Nick Mullins? No. So just being able to see what the future could be like and who's going to be at the helm of it at the quarterback position is the exciting part. So regardless of what you feel about Kirk Cousins, whether you love him, whether you hate him, it's got to be exciting to look as a Vikings fan and to see who will possibly be your next franchise quarterback. And I would say it's about a 75% chance that we'll be looking at one of these rookie quarterbacks possibly being the next franchise quarterback this year.
I honestly agree with you, SK. Like, if you asked me this 2 weeks ago, I'd probably say they weren't going to take one. But the fact that there is legit speculation, now again, it's lying season. Who knows if Will Levis...
They're kind of making it obvious we're going quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't hurt that Will Levis is being rumored that he's not, acing interviews. And you could say, well, that's not a good thing. But if he just interviews well with the Vikings, I don't care. I really don't. I don't care what he's doing with the Colts and the Texans and the Panthers. Like, I could care less. And Will Levis said this himself. This will be kind of an indicator to look out for on draft day itself, is if he's not in attendance, it's because he feels he's not going to go high. He said that himself.
Yeah.
So if he's not in the green room, he might dip a little bit. And honestly, I kind of like that approach from the kid. And a lot of people saying, ripping his mentality, his personality. But, like, I think that's pretty respectful, not wanting to, be all about yourself, right? It's more about yourself if you're actually in the green room. Now, you could say, well, the camera's not going to be in front of him for, an hour and a half waiting. But being with your family is probably a good thing, honestly. Yeah. It probably is. I mean, Joe Burrow did, I know it was the COVID year, so that doesn't even count, really. But still, I think it's nothing new. Myles Garrett didn't go to the green room when he went first overall. You don't have to. You really don't.
Yeah. So, no, and he's not going to go first over. I know there's a bunch of – there was reports
I'm just saying ideas of guys who have not – have gone high and still didn't go to the green room to be with their family.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, there's even been reports out that the Carolina Panthers love Will Levis. Now they love Richardson. Now it's all over the place. But but no, it's heating up, man. This quarterback talk is really heating up, and it looks like we may have a plan for life after Kirk Cousins. So that's got to be exciting. But we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Mike, I appreciate you joining me. It's always a great time when we get together and talk Vikings football. Again, plug your Twitter, plug your podcast. Make sure everybody gets all that info from you so they can tap in with you.
So first off, our YouTube channel is the Mic'd Up podcast, MIKED up UP, obviously, podcast. And that's on YouTube. Currently have 100 subscribers. If you want to subscribe, it'd be much appreciated. And then my Twitter is at Mike Castellino.
Yes, go give him a follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Always good content. And again, talks hockey too, not just football.
Yep.
Also talks hockey. So if you like hockey, go tap in with Mike, and always has a good Twitter Spaces going. But yeah, man, good mock draft. We got Zay Flowers in the first, Hendon Hooker at the end of the second. And then we got Ivan Pace at the end of the third.
Yep.
So
that's
I would be happy with that draft right there. So until the next mock draft, thank you for everybody for tapping in with your comments. Thank you, Skol Mafia. You're a little late, unless you've been watching Skol Mafia. We did a whole mock draft and talked some offseason, but thanks for tapping in late. Thank you, Skol Mafia. Thank you, Chris, for tapping in, interacting with us. Go give Chris a follow. If you're on Facebook, go follow him on Facebook or add him as a friend. That's my guy, Chris, the Purple Mandalorian. Let me see who else tapped in with us. Bob Swede, as always. Thank you, Bob Swede, for tapping in on the mock draft. AJ, thank you for tapping in. Always seems to tap in on Facebook. Appreciate you. Justin from Purple and Gold for Days. Go give him a subscribe on YouTube as well. So thank you again, guys, for tapping in. This is Purple and SKOL'd Media. Until next time, you guys. Peace.
Skol Vikes.